Don't worry.
Hopefully.
We're here.
Look at that. There we go.
There we go. There you go. It wouldn't be an EGCTV first stream of the week without a little bit of technical issues. Would it, Lidakor?
For sure it wouldn't be, but in we go. Inaugural game of the EGC Winter Team Championship, the BanterBois versus the Vietnam Legends. And starting off for the Vietnam Legends, we have Cool and Say My Name versus Laughing Fox and Mira from the BanterBois.
So for anybody who's watching this, maybe you're watching it on YouTube or maybe you've just tuned in on Twitch, these teams are absolutely insane. They're very, very talented teams. So coming in with Laughing Fox and Maria, these two guys, or these two players, let's just say that, because with a name like Maria, I want to be sure to make sure that I'm not making assumptions. Currently top 40 in the team ladder. Both of them Conqueror 3. Very talented. And by the same token, VNS, Cool, and Say My Name, these guys are also, I think, Conqueror 2 players at the moment. So coming into it, you'd probably give it a bit of an advantage over to the BanterBois, especially with their team that they've got. So the BanterBois is going to be having the Delhi Sultanate as well as French. And I think that they're going to be a powerhouse when it comes to this map.
Yeah, we've been talking about this one before the game started, and one of the things that we agreed upon is that with that sacred site being the only one to cap on the map, and the Delhi and French being able to really put up some pressure right from the start of Feudal Age, it could be a challenge for Vietnam Legends to contest the sacred site, and once the Delhi player captures the sacred site, they can just focus all attention there, and it could be challenging for Cool and Say My Name to decap it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the major play here. And take a look at this. Already early aggression coming out from Cool here. On the Ottomans, going to be dropping down a barracks in the Dark Age and looking to put on that double pressure. And I think this makes a lot of sense, considering you're playing up against the French. Obviously, the French love to go for that early night. So it makes sense to get out more spears because you're gonna find use for these spears anyway.
Yeah, for sure. One of the other things to note is that Cool was very successful gathering sheep. And as you can see, for the rest of the players, not much is left out there. Maria barely has any to work with, and I don't think the other players have much either. So most of the sheep will be under the control of Cool. Look at that.
Yeah, huge amount of sheep underneath that town center. Don't you love that? Doesn't it feel so good when it happens? And I think that's something that always happens on this map in particular. It can be very, very unforgiving if you fail to get sheep.
Yeah, it is, because this is a very momentum-based map. Because of the gold being in the middle, because of the sacred site. So you lose momentum by simply not having accessible food, you could easily lose the game. So having that much sheep is a massive advantage there for Cool. So is the fact that this spearman is here to harass the gold mine early.
Yeah, forcing out an outpost here against Maria. But by the same token, I think it's well played by Maria to just recognize that, hey, I don't want to lose this gold. If I lose this gold, I lose the ability to make knights. And if I can't make knights, then I can't be raiding my enemy. I'm going to fall behind on the knight number. So they say, you know what? I'm just going to put down the outpost. I'll cut my losses and we'll move forward. But on the other side of the map, Tower of Victory coming up for Laughing Fox.
No surprise in this one. Last weekend, the Clash of Lash community team game event has shown how effective Delhi archers can be to support French knights when they are buffed by the Tower of Victory. Now, the problem is that it looks like Cool didn't stop at just a few spearmen. He's flooding them. He's up to 6.
That is a lot of spearmen right there. That's more than I normally make, just because you're actually going to need to start chopping more than the straggler trees. He's not going to have enough wood now to do everything that he needs to do without moving to a lumber camp on a wood line somewhere. So he's going to have to start thinking about alternatives. But look at this. We've got a second outpost coming down. It's going to be Laughing Fox with the outpost this time.
Yeah, these spearmen are pretty good when it comes to forcing out those defensive towers, and while a lot of damage wasn't done by these spears, this is idle time on the economy of Laughing Fox and also Maria for that previous tower, plus a big investment, so I'm actually curious whether Laughing Fox will be able to afford an archer range straight away because of that tower.
Yeah, I think this is super smart as well by our Ottoman player to do this. Just gaining early control, early tempo, and early agency in this game. Forcing out the outpost, as you mentioned, now it's going to mean that there's an opportunity cost there. You go for an outpost, well, guess what? Now you can't afford to drop down an archery range. Now you can't afford to drop down that blacksmith. So there's a very nice opportunity cost. And now attention just going to be turned towards the mining camp. Instead of heading back home for any potential raids that might be coming in from his French opponent, he just says, we're just going to start taking out the mining camp.
Yeah, and we're talking about 6 spearmen out here, so that mining camp is going to be ruined in a second. And this is great value for those spears. Obviously, Cool was slowed down, but the damage that he's doing is massive. cuts off the deli player from the gold. So no scholars on the horizon, and keep in mind, those are pricier scholars because you went for the Tower of Victory. So being cut off from the gold for that long, that's a pain out there for Laughing Fox.
Take a look at the spearmen we've got already from the Ottoman player, just sitting on top of the gold mine. He's got them on hold position, just chilling out, or at least the second one was on hold position. First one was just doing a little bit of following, but great job there, recognizing that there's going to be a knight incoming. And now it's going to have to head down towards the south side instead.
Yeah,
Let's
but
take a look at the
spotted.
age ups that we've got coming through. I'm curious to see what Laughing Fox has gone for his age up. Or rather, what Cool's gone for his age up. I'm assuming that we've got the Twin Minaret Madrasa coming through for Cool.
Yeah, I would think so as well, but... there it is. Actually, wait a second.
Okay.
Whoa.
This is kind of weird because there's actually no trading post on this map. So this is... and we can see he's actually making traders. He had 2 traders in queue. So we're already seeing something different from VNS Cool right now. This is not typical, but did we see a villager just go down on that gold mine? I think we might have. Indeed, a dead villager on that gold mine.
And wait a second. Do I see 2 imams already out there for Cool? Looks like his first
You do.
Vizier point went into 2 imams, which is a little surprising. It's right next to the wood line, I do believe.
This is so weird to watch play because this kind of just breaks my mind when it comes to the way that Ottomans should be played. You know, obviously Ottomans are a new civilization. There's still a lot to learn for them, and I think that they're largely discovered at the moment. You know, Malians, I'd say they're a bit more undiscovered. But for the Ottomans, I think people have figured them out, and it's very strange to see this direction. So I'm curious to see how he goes with this.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Makes me feel like they don't even want to contest the middle that much. Maybe just wall up and base their gold economy on trade. And those imams, surprisingly, they could be really good to just heal up any damage that's done by those knights. And it might make it much easier for Cool to just keep all his villagers alive against those raids.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It could be a smart way for him to do that. I'm curious whether he moves into the textile upgrade. I suspect against the French in a team game, it just makes sense to be going for textiles. There's so many ways that you can get hurt. You just want to avoid it from happening. But we do see those archer numbers now beginning to build. Villagers still yet to pick up their textiles just yet for Cool. But yeah, at this point in the game, though, the archer numbers still yet to really build up here. Did we only see the single military school coming out as well for Cool so far? So not leaning in a lot to those bonuses.
In the meantime, Say My Name has been doing a lot of work out there, outnumbering when it comes to the knight numbers, and Laughing Fox has been losing villagers here, even being forced to drop a lumber camp to a rather subpar position, and he doesn't have a lot of archers, so these spearmen actually come in more clutch than expected.
Yeah, and unfortunately just losing one there on the front line, a little bit of a gimme right there, but Spearman also getting added in for Laughing Fox here, so that's going to be the one counter to this composition here. You can just make full Spearman, and you'll be 100% fine. But the Archer's going to be doing a decent job of picking off the enemy Spearman, but at the same time, Knights heading to the backside. Absolute chaos everywhere in this early fight as players look to try and out-micro each other, but the numbers definitely going to be on the favoring side of Laughing Fox as he falls back towards his town center, and everything feels a little bit better now.
Yeah, fights were still taking place in his base, though. So on the other side, we have pretty much untouched economies for Cool and Say My Name. And I'm starting to get really curious what the plan is here for Cool with the trade. He only seems to have the traders garrisoned inside, so kind of like a quasi-passive gold economy we are talking about here. He doesn't want to risk running those out for the time being, obviously. Knights are a threat. But if this is the only use he's finding for that landmark, one has to argue if the alternative would have been better.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. The other thing to remember as well is that against the French, having a nice, safe food source is really valuable. So to be going for this landmark, it seems a bit curious. The other alternative that I've just remembered as well is that his ally can always look to drop down their own market, and then he can look to trade from his market to the allies' market. Obviously, it's not as a healthy rate as what it would be to a neutral trading post, but beggars can't be choosers when there's no neutral trading post.
If you can get some walls up, it could be beautiful, though. Imagine that, in a blink of an eye, you pop out 6, 7, 8 traders, and the first run is gonna give you 1,000 gold or something. So you have to keep that in mind. At any moment, those traders could pop out and just go for a run, deliver a ton of gold. For the time being, they're garrisoned because there is still the looming threat of the knights from Mera, but if the fights continue like they do right now, then the fights will mostly be taking place on the sides of the BanterBois, so Cool could be a little bit more aggressive popping out those traders.
The thing that I'm finding interesting at the moment is that Laughing Fox isn't spending a lot of his focus on archers. We do see military campus now coming through for cool, but I guess the thing I'd like to bring up is that Laughing Fox is not focusing a huge amount at the moment on archers, and his ball is not as big as you'd like it to be. Ideally at this point, and we do actually see farms coming down, the consequence of Cool managing to find so many sheep on this map is that we've now got 11-minute farms coming in here for Laughing Fox.
Yeah, that's not a good sight to see here because momentum, we talked about this one, is critical for this map, and when you are forced into a farm transition this early, while your opponents kind of have the middle and are building up numbers, it's scary. Especially if you look at Maria's food sources. These berries, potentially exposed, his hunt on the front is about to get raided by Cool, and his access to food could easily be denied in the next few minutes.
Yeah, Cool looking really solid at the moment. His mass is looking really big. I love the fact he's got the imams out as well. I think for a team game environment, it might actually make quite a bit of sense for him to be going into the imams rather than the meta, especially considering he's not focusing on Spahi. And Spahi team up very well with the meta, enabling the Spahi to move at lightning speed. Speed always going to be important when it comes to your archer balls, but at the same time, keeping them alive also important.
Yeah, for sure. And as you said, those imams, they will also be useful to pick up relics once you get to Castle Age, but for the time being, it's all about keeping your army alive. It's basically a weaker version of what you would get from Delhi's Scholars. And keep in mind that on the other side, Laughing Fox is using Tower Victory, so he won't have 15 Scholars early on either. So you can kind of match to a certain extent the healing power of the Delhi.
Yeah, that's a really good point. One of the things to note is that with the Scholars, the way that it works is that they don't actually stack. And there's a reason why they don't stack. Could you imagine like 40 Scholars with AoE healings of one health every second? It would be amazing. I actually did a lot of testing with these Scholars because I was trying to work out how viable they would be. So if you put them in the battering ram, they also won't use their AoE healing at all. Because I was like, well, maybe we can just put them in a battering ram and just have it AoE healing non-stop in the battering ram. That doesn't work. That's out of the picture. So yeah, they're very. I feel like it's quite a niche choice for him to go here, but I think it's probably a smart move.
Yeah, and it seems to work pretty well over there. That army is fully healthy, and look at that. Mirai also forms for a farm transition. They'll have to fight here. They're running out of food.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like it's going to be the case. You can see how hard he's looking to push through on the backside, though. Whether he focuses down the Scholars or not, that's going to be my focus. Still, the Knight numbers looking pretty solid. Spearmen slowly getting taken out, but you can see all those heals coming through. Little pluses above the heads of all the red units. Cool looking solid as he continues pushing forward, and they're going to be repelled. Laughing Fox and Maria having a little bit of trouble here. The score lead starting to build up for the Vietnam Legends, and it looks like in this first game, it's definitely favoring the Vietnamese team at this point.
And they could commit. They have the numbers advantage. They will decide to detach the Knights, go for raids, intercept reinforcements, but they have to be cautious. They can't lose the archers here, Ozzy.
Yeah, where are the Knights right now? The Knights need to be back here. They need to be screening for the enemy Knights. This is the main problem when you're playing team games, is that you've got to rely on somebody else. You can't control all of the units together. A little bit of a lapse in judgment or a little bit of a lapse in attention, and you are in trouble. And now, once again, we can see those Knights looking like some free charges going to be coming in. Laughing Fox might be holding on right now.
Yeah, a lot of heavily damaged Knights there from Area, but it looks like they survived to live to see another day. But part of the reason why is because Cool is now up to Castle Age, so suddenly tech advantage massively in his favor. Mangonels will hit the field, but more importantly, it's going to be about the attack upgrades, it's going to be about the veterancy. And once you have those Castle Age archers on the field for the Ottomans, even those shiny blue Knights from Feudal Age, they don't look that promising either.
For me, the scary thing is now that you're in Castle Age, and there are, we did have imams out on the field. There's no more imams, but we could start looking at a sacred site timer coming through now. This map, of course, only a single sacred site. If you control it, the victory condition starts.
Indeed. And you can wall it in just like the Delhi player could at this point. You have complete control over the middle if you are Cool and say my name, so you can just wall it in, start the timer, and then it's gonna be insufficient for Laughing Fox and Mira to just take good fights. They have to decap the middle even.
Yeah, that's it, and that's exactly it. Because pushing through now, you can see just how much pressure that we've got coming out now from Vietnam Legends. The veterancy coming through on those archers, they're gonna have a little bit more damage. +2 range attack. I'm curious whether that's in, but I suspect it would be in shortly now. Look at them pushing towards this town center. He might have to garrison villages here, and if he does, yeah, his economy is going to be under pressure. Knights moving forward. No screen being run at the moment, so he gets decent charges off towards those archers. The numbers here not looking terrible for Laughing Fox, but he is struggling to hold on.
And the Matter just now arrived to the battlefield, boosting those archers. Knights are gonna be gone from area, and there is nothing left for Laughing Fox and him to hold on with.
He needs reinforcements from somewhere. But unfortunately, the numbers continue to dwindle. Villagers doing a little bit of a run by as well, trying their best to stay alive, getting picked off. Battering Ram working down the first of the landmarks. It's sitting at about 40% health at the moment. Keep in mind, Maria only in the feudal age, which means these two landmarks, it's all they've got. That is it. But now the archers looking to pick off the enemy archers. You can see the waves moving through the base. The knight numbers looking so solid right now for Vietnam Legends.
They do indeed. We're talking about 8 knights from area against 24 from Say My Name. And now if you even have some crossbowmen mixed in alongside those archers, it's gonna be difficult to pick those off one by one. So you're gonna have some armor-piercing power mixed in here for Cole to just decimate the remaining knights of Meria. And at this point, the School of Cavalry is about to get taken down. No repairs coming in, 10 villagers non-stop garrisoned in here from Meria. How are they gonna break out of this, Aussie?
This is really hard to do, especially considering these guys are in the feudal age. The way I'm thinking is like they need a miracle from a mangonel. It's the only way that they can be saved right now. But obviously, in the feudal age, there's no mangonel coming. In fact, your enemy's in the castle age. If anything, there's a mangonel coming for them shortly.
Indeed, in fact, there should be a mangonel coming soon. You also have some voles set up. So I would think that those traders can start thinking about popping out, and the eco advantage for the Vietnam Legends will just turn massive very soon. In fact, we're already looking at a 30 eco lead overall, plus a really good positional advantage even.
Yeah, the positional advantage is really solid here. Look at how forward these walls are coming up right now for Say My Name on the south side. This is so aggressive, but he secures up plenty of space on that south side and guarantees that there's going to be no potential raids coming through. One of the ways that you can look to get back into this game is through raiding. But at the moment, obviously, he's got to address the elephant in the room, and obviously, there is a deli in this game, but unfortunately, being in the feudal age, there are no access to elephants. It might be what he needed to save him. But unfortunately, look at the knight numbers coming out from Say My Name. Is he double the knight numbers right now? 12 knights versus 29 knights. It is more than double and a half. A huge difference here. He's going to try and push this back. The town center under fire. Battering rams continuing whacking away at that TC, but the knight numbers so solid. Say My Name looking incredible here. I suspect good game could get called any second right now. There's no way you can come back from this many knights. This is the victory condition of the French. Overwhelm your enemy with knights and destroy their base. Sit on top of their production. Make sure that they can't produce anything. And that's exactly what is happening right now.
Indeed, reinforcements are also getting picked off. No way to help that town center. It's gonna get taken down. And there is just no army left over here for Laughing Fox and Meria. His base is on fire and out he taps from the game. Game number 1. Convincing victory here for the Vietnam Legends off the back of the Ottomans and the French.
Yeah, that was a really solid performance right there for Vietnam Legends. The curious thing to me is that we never really saw our Delhi player ever look to contest the sacred site, because that's obviously their win condition, but I think it all just goes back to that Ottoman opening. The fact that we saw those outposts coming down early inside the bases meant that, sure, you keep your villages safe for now, but you're also spending your resources. There's an opportunity cost there that is being lost. Because now with those resources, you can't spend them on a blacksmith, you can't spend them on an archery range, and now you're behind on production. Really lovely, really well played here by Vietnam Legends.
Indeed. And let's not forget that at the beginning, the starting momentum was great from their side. They managed to secure most of the sheep, and those spearmen, they were just able to shut down so much. They followed up with a good knight's play from Say My Name, and in the end, that just snowballed out of control for Meria and Laughing Fox. And now, Vietnam Legends move on to match point as we are gonna get to the 3v3 stage of this best of 3.